What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. We just finished watching the Denver Nuggets playing against the Los Angeles Clippers, the last game on a Christmas Day schedule, and it did not go, Nuggets fans, how we wanted it to go. Now, before we get in, I want to say this real quick. I'm going to quote my man Aaron Rodgers. R.E.L.A.X. Relax. Relax. It's the first two games of the season. We're integrating 7 new players into our rotation. The core players that we've had with the Nuggets for a while, trying to figure out how to play with these new players. Our rotations are completely different. We're missing 2 players from our rotation in Winnington and also in Jermichael Green. And so we're trying to learn how to integrate all these new point guards we have in our system as well. Gary Harris is not getting shots yet. Jamal Murray is starting off a little bit slow. Everyone is just trying to figure out what their role is on this new team. And so obviously we didn't win the last game against the Kings. Now we've lost today against the Los Angeles Clippers. But the good news is this. The Nuggets will figure it out. As you can see, the rotations are not good on defense right now. We're giving up way too many three-pointers. The man-to-man defense and the guard play and the guard defense isn't great yet. But we are moving along. And we will figure things out as we go. So be patient. Be patient. Trust the process. Continue to trust the process. And that's really what the Denver Nuggets need to continue to do. But before we kind of get into the game notes, I just want to highlight the fact that Nikola Jokic looks all the way like an MVP candidate. Not a fringe MVP candidate, but leading MVP candidate. Last game, he had 29 points, 15 assists, and 14 rebounds. In this game, he has 24 points, 10 assists, and 9 rebounds. Nikola Jokic has never done that before. Nikola Jokic has never done that for the start off the season. So let's be encouraged with that, because first off, like the fact that our star player, our all NBA player, the best player on our team, the best big man in the league, a top 10 player, in my estimation, a top 7 player in the NBA, that he is playing that well this early, that's something to celebrate. So again, we're just figuring it out. But Jokic looked great. MPJ came out when this game started. MPJ came out with a swagger corner 3. It reminded me of the Golden State game last year when we came back in Golden State, and he hit that corner 3 right in front of the Nuggets bench and just lit it up. And then he comes back with 2 dunks in the quarter, and I thought that MPJ was about to go off the rest of the game. But just as the game went on, the ball kind of went away from him. And so, again, we're still trying to figure out how to integrate MPJ into our lineup, into our rotation. He clearly has the makings of a top 10 player in the NBA. I mean, the dude has crazy wiggle room on his jump shot. He has high arc on his jump shot. He can shoot from anywhere. And honestly, his dribbling isn't great now. Like, he's still a little too loose with the ball, but it's pretty good considering he's 6'10", and he is in the second year of learning how to play in the NBA. And so he is coming along. He will continue to get better. The Nuggets will continue to do better. And then obviously Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray ended up with a good stat line. He ended the game with 23 points, 3 assists, and 5 rebounds. Now, you want to see those assist numbers up. The rebounds aren't bad. Points aren't bad. That's honestly, 23 points is about what we would like to see Jamal Murray averaging throughout the year. But he is clearly trying to figure out, again, how to play with these new players, to play in this system. And so he's starting off very slow. Last game, he was 1 for 9. Today, he was 1 for 7 to start. But then obviously, as we all know, Jamal Murray, once the fourth quarter hits and his team needs him, all it takes for him is one shot, and then he just goes. And his lights on, and he can hit everything. Now, I want to lift up Kawhi Leonard in prayer. That looked really bad when he got elbowed by Serge Ibaka. I can tell you, as a Division I athlete playing football my whole life, I've never seen someone get elbowed in basketball or any sport for that matter that hard, and they bled that much out of his mouth. So I hope he's okay. We pray for his quick recovery. But once Jamal Murray started going, that incident when Kawhi unfortunately got hurt, that actually slowed him down a little bit. So I thought that when we came back out from that TV timeout, that we were just not, the pace wasn't there, and then the shots weren't there. When Jamal Murray plays, he's all about momentum. So once he starts rolling, it's a snowball. But when Kawhi unfortunately got hurt, that's when that momentum seemed to kind of fade away a little bit. So I think that affected it. Monte Morris had 13 points and 4 assists in 30 minutes tonight. I thought Monte Morris was excellent. Monte Morris, for the last 2 years is leading the NBA in assist to turnover ratio. He is such a key backup point guard. In my estimation, he's probably, I would say, if you count Schroeder as a backup, obviously he's the starter right now. But the last couple of seasons, I got to say that Monte Morris, Dennis Schroeder are probably the best backup point guards in the league because Monte Morris is so steady. He's great in the pick and roll game. His three-point shot was great today. In the preseason, it was great. He's able to penetrate and kick. And Monte Morris is not a big player, but he plays hard. And he is very fundamental with his feet. And so his hips are always in the right place. His feet are always in the right place. He keeps his hand out to make sure that he's not fouling and hacking. And so when he's on defense, even though he's undersized, the way that he moves, he's able to keep his body in front. So I actually really enjoy watching Monte Morris play. Will Barton had 15 points, 3 assists, 5 rebounds. That was a great comeback from last game. Hartenstein, he played a lot better considering how he played last week. He played way better than he did last week. So I was glad to see him. He got some key offensive rebounds. Gary Harris has just not found his stroke yet, y'all. And am I concerned? I would say that, for the last 2 seasons, now into the 3rd season, Gary Harris has just not shot the ball well. He's just not looked like who he was that 2017, 2018 season, when he averaged 17.5 points a game and shot like 42% from 3. And honestly, that Gary Harris just might not be here in this offense because I think Gary Harris is taking such a back seat in the offense that it's hard for him to get into the rhythm. But he made some good plays today in the passing game. He made some good cuts, got a couple layups there, and he played decent defense. But honestly, the thing about Gary, if he's not hitting shots, his defense has to be amazing. He has to be able to play lockdown defense or else he becomes a liability on the court, unfortunately. And obviously, he's Mr. Nugget along with Monte Morris. We love Gary Harris, but, he really is going to have to pick up his game. And honestly, I have to say that should he continue to struggle and, should the Nuggets continue to struggle to figure this out, I can see a trade coming. Like I said, that Harden trade is still out there, but really, another wing player, a bigger wing player, somebody that can play defense against the Paul Georges and Kawhi Leonards of the world. Because when MPJ is not in the game, the Nuggets do look small at 2 and the 3. And again, unless you're playing great team defense, it's just not the best combo to have. So anyway, the Nuggets move on to another section. The Nuggets 3-point defense tonight was awful. It was awful. And again, the reason it was awful is because they were still learning rotations. Especially when like Facu Campazzo, who's still learning how to play in the NBA. I had some people in my Twitter mentions saying that he's actually the best player in Europe, likely the best player coming out of Europe. So, he needs to have the ball. He needs to be making decisions with the ball. And I do agree. I think that if you have a lineup of Monte Morris, Will Barton, and Facu Campazzo, and PJ Dozier, I don't like that lineup because it's 4 ball handlers. And then if Facu's not on the ball, then you're taking away his best skill set, which is passing, which is setting other people up. And so he helps other people finish. And so when Facu is on the side and then he has to play defense against, Lou Williams, Paul George, and even, if he got matched up on Kawhi Leonard, he's just not as effective in that role. So, we're still figuring out exactly how to utilize him. I do think we'll figure it out. But when Facu was in the game with Bol, and I was glad to see him get some minutes, but Bol, he didn't contribute anything tonight. And Bol still hasn't figured out how to play basketball. It's simple as that. Jokic said that in training camp that he's learning how to play basketball. Some people laughed at it on social media, but he just doesn't have the awareness. He was really late on rotations. When there was penetration into the paint, he doesn't utilize his size to alter the shot sometimes. He plays a little too soft. And it's not soft because I think he's soft, but he just physically is just not there yet. And mentally, he's still figuring out. So in the sequence that him and Facu were in, man, there were wide open 3-pointers because of lack of rotation. There was paint driving. It just wasn't a good combo. And so today, the Clippers shot 19 of 38 from the 3-point line. And I got to say, the Clippers have good shooters, but I don't really see them doing that a whole bunch this year. I just think that it was a really good day of shooting for them. And again, they made 50% of their 3-pointers. The Denver Nuggets only made 11 of 36 of their 3-pointers. So it just wasn't the day. That was 30% of their 3-pointers that they make. It just wasn't a great day on that end offensively for the Nuggets. And then defensively, they just didn't look good. They looked a little sloppy. And so, again, I think that the Nuggets will be okay. They will figure it out. I honestly think that it's just going to take time. It's going to take time to figure out what exactly they need to be doing, how they need to be moving, how do they need to be utilizing the new rotations and such that they have. So yeah, it's frustrating, I know, for Nuggets fans, because I know obviously that many of us are hoping that they vie for the 1 seed this year. But, we have to stay patient and just realize that they're going to continue to grow and figure everything out. Now the next game you play is against the Houston Rockets, and so that's going to be an interesting game. James Harden might play tomorrow, but he's definitely going to be playing on that Monday, should he come back from having to isolate for a little bit. And I'm really curious to see how that game's going to go, because right now, we're 0-2. The Kings game, sloppy. Murray didn't play well at all. This game, played against the Clippers. Clippers were super motivated. They're angry that they lost to the Nuggets. They believe in their heart of hearts that they're a better team than the Nuggets. But I think in basketball, 7-game series, you see who the best team is 99% of the time. And the Nuggets proved in games 5 through 7 that they were superior. They were more committed to winning. And so the Nuggets didn't show up in some ways. The Clippers showed out. Shot better than they ever have. Paul George is a great regular season player. I already know Paul George is going to do what he needs to do in the regular season. Kawhi Leonard, mid-range, on the block, it's just too small. And that's one of the things that's frustrating too. So when MPJ, he will be a great defender at some point. He's going to be a really good defender. So when you have PJ Dozier or Jamal Murray or Gary Harris on Kawhi in the block, it is just not a good matchup, because he's so strong. And he's so fundamental that he's going to get you right on the block, right in the middle of the lane. And as Richard Jefferson said, he might make that shot 10 out of 9 times, because that's how good he is. He's an elite mid-range player, and he's very, very fundamental. He knows his game. He knows his strong points. And in MPJ, I think the thing with MPJ is I honestly think there's potential for MPJ to average like about 18, 19 points this year. If he doesn't, it's only going to be because of how they're integrating him into the offense. Because, again, he started the game off with 7 points, and it looked like we were going to have another 30-piece. We thought it looked like MPJ was about to put Kawhi on notice. Paul George on notice said, that next wing that next wing player, that next wing superstar is right here. It's right here. Second year in the league. I'm right here, 22 years old, and I'm about to give you the business. That's what it looked like. And I was hyped because the Nuggets, they were just looking like it was about to be a dogfight. But as we've seen on Christmas Day, like last year against the Pelicans, sometimes the Nuggets just, especially early in the season, they just don't show up as consistently as they usually do. So when January, February rolls around, I do expect the Nuggets to be rolling and rolling pretty hot. But right now we're just figuring it out. And so the next game is going to be against the Rockets on Monday. And so, hopefully we'll have a better showing there. Jamal Murray looks like he's figuring it out a little bit. Jokic is unstoppable right now, and he is looking like he's making MVP contention this year. But yeah, it's a 72-game season. We got 70 more games left, and it's going to be good. And the Nuggets are going to be good this year. But again, R.E.L.A.X. They're going to get there. They're going to figure it out. They're going to figure the rotations out. Give the Clippers credit. They showed up. They did what they needed to do today. But I do believe the Nuggets, in the playoffs, it's going to be the better team. But it's just about figuring out that process now. And so Denver Nuggets fans, hold on, trust the process. They'll continue to go. Things will be better. And they'll be at the top of the West come the end of the year. So this is going to be it for this episode. I will be back with you on Monday after we play the Houston Rockets. Have a good rest of your night, rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.